Hello everyone, Spider Gamer here once again. Hi. I just woke up from a nap, so I am slightly out of it, but I am of sound mind and well rested. So don't worry about it. Before we start anything, I want to say I did go watch Spider-Man Brand New Day yesterday. I even made a post about it. You can see on my posts. I absolutely loved the movie, of course. There's no way I couldn't love it because it's a Spider-Man movie and I love Spider-Man. So, but I really liked the movie. I think it was really good. I'm saying it like this because the movie kind of pointed a finger inside my soul and was like, see what happens. I felt really called out. I really felt really called out in the movie. The whole don't be alone stuff. I felt extremely called out. Every time Spider-Man faces a personal and like mental health problem, I feel extremely called out because he just like me for real. But yeah, no, I felt really called out. But the movie's amazing, okay? I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was really, really great, and I loved it. It's amazing. You should definitely watch it. I just felt extremely called out, and I don't know how to feel about it. If you relate to Spider-Man on a deep, deep level, maybe get a few therapy sessions in before and after the movie, like if you're gonna go. But other than that, you should definitely watch it. It's amazing. And best of all, it's Sony, not Disney. So yeah, screw you, Disney. Anyways, today I am finally giving you guys an actual AITAH video. Yep, that's right. I am giving an actual AITAH video. I thought, since it's my first time properly dipping my little footsies into... I don't know why I said little footsies. I think it's because I'm wearing my Grimm hoodie. If you don't know, Grimm is this cat right here that I'm putting on the screen. He is absolutely adorable. He is my son. I love him so much. He is unbearable and I love him. And I have a hoodie of him that I just got in the mail. It is extremely comfortable, okay? This is the most comfortable thing I've ever worn in my life. I do not ever want to get out of this. This is extremely, extremely comfortable. It's so comfy, it's so warm, it's so fuzzy. I love it. Especially when it's so cold in here. And everything hurts. So I am extremely cozy in my little Grimm hoodie. I'm gonna try to put a picture of the hoodie that I got from the Hot Topic website over here, so you can see what it looks like. This is what I'm wearing right now, but mine is oversized because comfiness, and I am extremely happy with it. And yeah, this is amazing. I'm not sponsored by Hot Topic, by the way. It'd be crazy if I was, because there's no Hot Topic location in Brazil. They should seriously open a store in Brazil. Hot Topic, when are you opening a store in Brazil? Anyways, yeah, so since it's my first time actually braving the subreddit, I thought we should be a little more low stakes today. I'm gonna read the posts, I'm gonna give my opinions. I got the two top comments, and we're gonna discuss it. Okay, it's gonna be really low stakes, except for the second story. The second story is a story that I fished out myself, that I saw Oz cover like a year ago. The story is from a year ago, And I felt so incredibly pissed about that story that I felt the need to go after it myself. And I found it, and I'm gonna discuss it with you guys. Because I really don't blame Oz for not having the social, economical, political knowledge of Brazil to properly discuss this story, but I do. And yeah, no, this story royally pissed me off. So it will be a little bit of cheating because I did get it from Am I the Devil, not AITA. Sorry. But they really are the devil. And yeah, no, let's start with a basic one, then we get to that one, and then we will do the rest. So here we go. By U/T6 Texan Ace. Let's go Ace. Okay. AITA for cursing at a neighbor who kept pestering me while I was helping an out-of-town neighbor by cutting up fallen limbs after a storm. Probably not. They were voted not the a-hole. And yeah, no, let's start the story. So during a major storm the other day, the top of a 75-foot oak tree broke off, bringing down several 10-inch diameter branches with it. Is that inches? I think that's inches. Okay. 10-inch diameter branches with it. That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah. Is it? I don't know how many 10 inches are. Sorry. I use centimeters like a normal person. The branches fell pretty much on 50-50 on two neighbors' properties and laid about halfway across our private lane, which runs across neighbor 1's property. Neighbor 2 is out of town for a couple weeks, so I text him to relax. I'll take care of it and head down with my trusty Milwaukee tool chainsaw. It's about 90 degrees and a similar humidity, and I'm cutting off how much is 90 degrees? Hold on. I'm too slow to actually do the math right now, so I'm just gonna Google it. Degree Fahrenheit to Celsius, yes. 32. Okay, it's warm. It's warm. Okay. And a similar humidity, and I'm cutting off the branches and then cutting the 10-inch limbs into log-size pieces. Okay, so it's big enough to be logs. So that's okay. That is big. All right. The stuff fell within 3 feet of the property line, and I'm making one pile of the limbs and stacking the logs in another. I'm about 20 minutes into a 30-minute project when neighbor 2 comes out of her house, walking towards me, jawing at me about throwing debris onto her property. I explain that I'm merely getting it out of the road for now, and that the owners will take care of any debris when they get home. She keeps jawing at me, saying she just spent hundreds of dollars cleaning up another debris from another neighbor's tree that fell in her yard a few weeks ago. So the branches fell in her property. Aren't you helping her by taking them out of her property? Am I getting this wrong? Hold on. Sorry, I should not have been reading this after a nap. Okay, the branches fell. 50-50 on the two neighbors. Okay. Halfway across the private lane, which runs across neighbor 1's property. Okay. So the branches fell 50-50. You're getting them out, so you're helping her. And the thing that fell across was on number 1, so not her property. So it's really not her business, and you're just helping her. Got it. I say again, it's just temporary. It will all be cleaned up. She continues and insists that I get all the debris off of her property completely. Oh, so like, okay, so you're making piles. Yeah, you're making piles for the limbs and stacking the logs in another. And one of those piles is in her property, probably. Okay, I see. So I say, sure lady, and proceed to haul all the crap to the other side of the lane and place it squarely on neighbor 1's property. She's still jawing at me. Okay, so now she's wrong. Because you took all the stuff off her property. First, you shouldn't really have put stuff on her property. You shouldn't just let all the stuff be on neighbor 1's property. But she was rude, sure. But I get her point at the start. But if she's still screaming at you for after you got all the stuff off her property and into neighbor 1's property, then she's in the wrong now. She's still jawing at me. Make sure it's all off of my property. That sort of thing. I finally had enough and tell her to SDFU. You were pretty rude. You were pretty rude. I get it. I get it that she wouldn't stop even after you accepted her very aggressive request. But I'm gonna say this after I finish reading. I'm sorry. What did you say? I said, shut the up and go back into your house. I continued to work on clearing the debris, and her husband comes out to see what the fuss is all about. I say, I'm doing a favor for your neighbor, and your wife is out here driving me nuts. Tell her to shut the up. Go back in her house and take her meds. You were very rude. Okay, you were very, very rude there. No need to curse so much at her. He turns around and leaves. She has my cell number from a skunk issue we dealt with a couple years ago for sure enough. So, sure enough, I get a diatribe of an email later that evening that starts with 1. Don't ever use the F words towards me again. Followed by 3 more multi-paragraph bullets, and bullet number 5 being 5. See number 1 above. To which I reply, take your meds and leave me the alone. To which she replies, to recap, followed by another diatribe of about 6 paragraphs. To which I replied, to recap, take your meds and leave me the alone. Her response, you seem not to be able to communicate without using the F word. Goodbye. So I absolutely intentionally dropped the F-bomb initially because she wouldn't shut up. Then when she instructed me not to use the F-bomb, the F word towards her again, it was instantly apparent how I could get this crackpot to leave me alone, and it worked. My wife says, AITA. What? Your wife says AITA. Oh, okay. Sorry. Not AITA. IATA. I shouldn't have taken that nap. I should not have taken that nap. That was hard. Okay. I'm gonna have to softly agree with your wife here. Okay. So, my view of this is that everybody sucks here, but you suck a little less than her. Let me cook. Okay? So, what I've learned in my vast experience being alive is that anger and violence will get you nowhere. Okay? Complicated people will be more complicated if you are mean to them back. There's no such thing as when they go low, we go lower working. Okay? That doesn't work. So, honestly, I think my view is that we should always be as polite as possible to the people around us, because from my own personal experience, that is what has worked best in my entire life. Okay? Now, you can be firm and polite. Sorry, my voice is... Okay, I'm back. You can be firm and polite. That has worked. That has worked for me before. But be polite. Because politeness will most times get you where you want to be. That's my personal experience, basically. Yeah, I can definitely tell you I've barely ever had any pushback in things I tried to do, mostly because I've always been polite to people. As much as my blood is boiling at them, if you're polite to people, they usually let you do stuff and let you get away with stuff. So yeah, no, you don't choose violence. Basically, don't choose to go for battles. Try to avoid them. That's a good life lesson for you. But basically, I'd say you were initially in the wrong for putting stuff on her property, even though it was already there. You shouldn't really have kept it there if you were already gathering the stuff. You should have just left it all on the neighbor one's property. Now, she loses all reason the moment she starts nagging at you after you complied. And you being rude to her after kinda knocks you down a level, in my opinion. So you're both not very much in the right, but you're less in the wrong than her, in my opinion. And that's it. First comment, top comment says, from Lunar Eclipse 0204. NTA, even her husband didn't stand up for her. He's probably sick of her crap already. So, like, I get it, but I think he just didn't want to be involved. This sounds like the sort of thing that I wouldn't want to be involved either. Even if I didn't agree with both sides, which is my case, I wouldn't really want to be involved either. So, and Cat the Conqueror responds that either means he's not a great husband or he's used to her causing problems. Based on the post, I'm leaning towards the latter. So, yeah. Yeah, maybe he just didn't want to be involved. is what I'm betting. And the other top post, the other top comment I found is from Free Adagio 2904. Sure, you were the a-hole, but only because she left you with no other choice. I fundamentally disagree with this. OP had a choice to be kind and they didn't take it. So, yeah, no, I don't agree with this. But, And OP responded, "This is the correct answer. I was the a-hole on purpose and it worked." I agree with OP. I agree with OP. They were the a-hole on purpose. They chose to be an a-hole. It worked. After a lot of fighting, but it worked. But I think this would have ended way quicker if they had just been nice. Anyways, let's move on to the post that I tracked down that was deleted. Okay, so this post is from Am I the Devil? It was cross-posted into Am I the Devil from AITAH a year ago, give or take. And the user was deleted. And actually, so was the post that u/grows-on-walls reposted to Am I the Devil? But thankfully, the auto moderator saved the post. So I get to read it and dissect it for you guys. Ready? Okay, I'm really excited about this. AITAH for mentioning that I fly to another city to get my nails done and making everyone think I'm some spoiled brat. Okay, so this happened a few days ago, and I feel kind of weird about it. I, 19F, am originally from a small city in Brazil called Florianópolis, in the state of Santa Catarina. So right off the bat, I just want to give you guys some context. They're purposefully playing down the story right off the bat by calling Florianópolis a small city. Florianópolis is the capital of Santa Catarina, which is a state in South Brazil. And let's just say South Brazil and Southwest Brazil are basically super duper rich. So they're saying that they are originally from the capital of a super rich state in Brazil. But I've been studying in São Paulo for, they said São Paulo, I think they tried to Englishify the name and they didn't do it properly because it'd be San Pablo, not São Paulo. So I'm just gonna call it what it is, São Paulo. And honestly, it makes more sense to call it St. Paul, because that's what it means. But okay. São Paulo for about a year now. Oh, also, another bit of context. São Paulo is one of the richest cities in Brazil. Okay? It's also the capital of the state of São Paulo. Yes, they both have the same name. So they went from a super rich capital to another super rich capital. Just contextualizing this. Also, São Paulo, the state, is very industrialized. So a lot of people go live there for jobs and stuff. But because a lot of people go there, it's um, let's just say there's a lot more people that are actually down to earth than other super rich cities, because a lot of people there like come from other not super rich places, so they kind of have a realistic view of what money is instead of being super snobbish and stuck up. Basically, there's a lot more people that because São Paulo is a quote-unquote big city, there's a lot more people who have realistic worldviews there than other rich cities in the country. So yeah. I made a few friends at my college, but I'm still getting used to the differences coming from a small town. I'm gonna puke if she says small town one more time. It is not a small town. It is the capital of Santa Catarina. Let me Google something. Hold on. Florianópolis in the year of 2026 is ranked the 46th richest city in Brazil out of 5,570 cities in Brazil. It is 46th. You want to call it a small town one more time? Just for good measure? This little town, you call it, okay, is 43rd, not 46. 43rd. I am pretty sure. Yeah, no. Okay, PIB is the GDP. Their GDP. Their GDP. Okay? Oh no, I inverted the list. Hold on. Just a second. Okay, there we go. Their GDP is 31,190,132 reais and 22 cents. So yeah, no, they're like really rich city, and they are a capital. They are in fact a capital. Yeah. Number one on the list is obviously São Paulo, because it is the richest city in Brazil, in the entire country. And number two is Rio de Janeiro. Which, yeah, no, the two biggest capitals. Makes sense. And the capital of the country, Brasilia, is third. Anyways, so if she calls Florianópolis a small town one more time, I am going to lose it to the enormity of São Paulo. And sometimes I feel like I don't realize how things come across here. The other day, I was talking to a few classmates after class. We were just chatting about random stuff, and the topic of nails came up. Someone mentioned a local salon, and I mentioned that I fly back to Florianópolis every few months to get my nails done by a specific lady who's been doing them for years. I'm gonna stop right there. One more time. First off, I forgot to mention, since a lot of people from all over Brazil come to São Paulo for job opportunities, the same goes for university actually. People from all over Brazil come to São Paulo for university. And especially all over the state of São Paulo come to this capital of São Paulo for university, because it has one of the best public universities in Brazil. And public universities in Brazil are actually the better quality universities. You want to get into a public university. I'm not gonna say, I'm saying this not to sound rude and not to diminish anybody who goes to a private university. I'm just saying the general sense that is had among Brazilians is that public universities have more prestige to them than private ones, mostly. There are exceptions, obviously, but it's much more prestige to hear someone went to a public university than a private one. And public universities are like pretty hard to get into. So it means you gotta be really good to get into, basically. And São Paulo has one of the best public universities in the country, so a lot of people go to São Paulo to study for university. And so a lot of students get there. And as someone who has friends that went to São Paulo to study at the Federal University of São Paulo, I know that a lot of people like share like 5 people sharing a flat. And a lot of people really scrape to get by in this situation because São Paulo is a pretty expensive place, and since it's the capital and all, and there's a lot of people, so it's pretty high cost of living. Now I want to compare that to the Florianopolis price of living, and what I'm gonna tell you, okay, as someone who also has friends in Florianopolis, that place's cost of living is sky high. Okay, I have an inside joke with my parents that anytime we're looking at prices and we see the prices in Florianopolis compared to the prices outside of Florianopolis, because a lot of stuff gets their price hiked up in Florianopolis, we just call it the Floripa price. Floripa is a nickname that Florianopolis has as a city, so you don't have to keep saying Florianopolis, you just say Floripa. Anyways, Floripa has very high cost of living. Everything is very expensive, specifically in Floripa. You get a bus 1 hour away from Floripa, 1 hour outside of the city, you will find cheap stuff. It's very expensive in Floripa, basic stuff. And basically, these luxury services, which would be nails, done by a local lady, would be extremely more expensive than getting them done by a possibly cheaper place in São Paulo. So not only do you have to take into account the price of the nails that will absolutely, certainly be hiked up because it's Floripa, you also have to take into account the price of the plane ticket. You want to know how much is a plane ticket right now? I'm gonna look it up. I'm looking it up. A flight from São Paulo to Florianopolis right now. The cheapest I could find from a not so good brand of flight, is that how you say it? I don't know. Is $550. $550. That is that's like Oh, how do I say this? It's because stuff is so like disproportionately priced here that I don't know if I can get a good like comparison for you guys outside of the country. $550 is like the price of a, not the top of the line, but like a cheaper version, like a cheaper, still part of the line, but the cheapest part of the line of a luxury bag, I'd say. Yeah, let's say there's like a luxury. I don't know much about luxury bags, but like you wanna get like an expensive bag. If you get the cheapest one from the expensive bags, it's gonna be that cost. Yeah, so it's something you really gotta save up for. It's not something you can just splurge. Now, someone who knows the cost of living in places, that is unfortunately the cost of like a week and a half of groceries and bills and stuff in Florianopolis. So now you understand why I said the cost of living in Florianopolis is pretty high. You spend like a luxury bag on groceries and bills and stuff for a week and a half. And that's the cheapest flight I found. This girl's probably getting the $734 one, which is the like good one. There's also one that's like double the price of the cheapest one. So really, yeah, no, it's really a matter of which one you're getting, but the cheapest you can get is pretty expensive. Okay, so I don't know how much it is to get your nails done because I do my nails myself. But I'm not even gonna try to guess the price. Honestly, I don't want to get it wrong. I'm already harping on the lady enough. But consider there's a baseline price here of $550 just to go get it done. And then you gotta consider the price of the nails on top of that. Every few weeks is a little often for that. No, sorry, every few months. I'm sorry. I got it wrong. I'm sorry. Every few months is still a little pricey for that. Yeah, it's a little pricey for that. Also, consider the flight back. So you're spending at least $1,000. You're spending at least $1,000. Not even considering the price of your nails. Every few months. That's a lot, babe. That's a lot. For your nails. You're saying that in front of a group of people that possibly, I'm not going to assume anything of them. Maybe they are in the same situation as her, but I doubt it because of how they reacted. I doubt it. So I'm going to say possibly a group of people that are budgeting their asses off. That are doing their best to be able to live well on a very high price of living city for university. Who are working hard so they can fund their education. And you just said in front of their faces that you spend more than $1,000 every few months to get your nails done. Of course, they're gonna think you're stuck up. Of course, they're gonna think you're a spoiled brat, because that is exactly what you are. And I'm not even gonna give you the benefit of the doubt because you purposefully downplayed the entire situation by calling Florianopolis a small city. Girl, look in the mirror. Do you see anything other than a spoiled brat? Because I don't. And honestly, I'm really trying not to get my judgment clouded by my prior experiences with people like this, because unfortunately, the town I grew up in is a very stuck-up town. It's a very, let's just say, bougie town. Bougie? Bourgeoisie? Something like that. Yeah. It's a very upper middle class town, and that thinks itself a little too important for what it actually is. And there's a lot of people in there that have a lot of money and don't realize it. And think that spending like $200 per week to go out, that think that spending like a ton of money every week to go out is perfectly normal when you're in middle school. So I'm really trying not to be clouded by prior experiences, but I know exactly what type of girl this is, and I can tell you I would not have been friends with you in high school. So, back to the text. I didn't think much of it at the time. It's something I've always done. Oh God, I hate you. I hate you. Okay. And I guess it just felt normal to me because a lot of my high school friends studying in other cities also fly back home for random stuff. Yeah, because they're also spoiled rats. Have you thought about that? Have you thought that you and your little friends are all spoiled rats? But as soon as I said it, the whole vibe of the group changed. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. A group of people kind of laughed awkwardly, and one girl just straight up asked, "Wait, you fly to Santa Catarina for your nails?" Yeah, that's exactly what I would have said in her place. I said yeah, and explained that it's just something I've always done. You're just making things worse for yourself, girly. And it's about an hour flight, so it's not a huge deal. It's $1,000 to go to and back. It is a big deal, girly. Sorry for that. After that, the conversation felt a bit tense. Later, one of my closer friends, who was there, texted me and said that I came off super bratty. Yeah, you did. And like a toned up bitch. Yeah, exactly what you did. Because most of our classmates work part-time jobs just to afford school and basic stuff. That is what I said. Girly, you just said in front of an entire group of people who work their asses off to afford a good education and to live in a place that they have opportunities, that you spend $1,000 like it's no big deal. That's exactly what you said. And here I am casually talking about flying to another state for a manicure. I honestly didn't mean it for it to come off like that. And I feel kind of shitty. I really don't want to be mean, but like, as you should. That was shitty. I get that not everyone can do stuff like that, but I didn't
think I was bragging or anything. Now I'm worried that everything thinks I'm some spoiled rich girl who's out of touch with reality. It is exactly what you are. It is exactly what you are. And honestly, I don't know if you really weren't bragging or anything, because you already purposefully made Florianopolis seem like a small city for strangers on the internet that don't know it's not. So I don't know if you really weren't bragging or anything. I'm wondering if I really did screw up and if I should apologize to the group or if I'm overthinking this whole thing.
You're not overthinking. You should apologize and you should change your ways. And you should stop being a stuck-up bitch. Lady Wizard added in a comment an edit that the OP made.
Edit. Okay, I realize I should clarify a few things because I think the way I worded it in the post probably, it makes it sound weird. When I fly to Florianopolis, it's not like I just arrive, get them done, and fly right back. I usually go during long weekends or breaks from school, so I can spend a few days there with my family.
That is definitely not what you said in the post. And honestly, girlie, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. But even if you do, like, as someone who is living a very similar situation to yours of having to take a plane back home to see my family and being in a completely different state for university, I can tell you that I only see my family twice a year. Once a year, my mom takes a plane to come see me here and spend some time with me here for my birthday. And at the end of the year, I take a plane to my city to be with my family. And like a week before classes start, I take a plane back. That's all the time I have with my family. I miss them a lot, but it's not economically feasible to be taking. I'm sorry, I need a moment. Just hold on. Sorry, I get emotional sometimes. I am a very privileged person, and I am so incredibly lucky that I get to live in a different city, in a different state for university, that I can afford to live like this without having to work my ass off to be able to sustain myself. I am so incredibly lucky for that. And I'm so incredibly lucky I get to go to a really, really good university, and I get to actually learn something I love and that I can actually use it for my future. And I am so, so, so incredibly lucky for all of that. And I'm so, so, so incredibly thankful for my parents who made it possible for me to be able to do all this. So I'm not gonna be upset that I am away from my family to study, because it's things we gotta do for our futures. But I'd be lying if I said I don't miss them a lot. I miss them so much. And I really, really wish I had like the door from Howl's Moving Castle that I could just twist a knob and just be somewhere else so I could go see my family way more often. I wish I could see them every weekend. I wish I could see them on the long weekends. I wish I could see them on breaks from school, but I can't. It's not economically feasible to just drop $1,000 like that. And I'm saying this as someone who is very privileged, who is well off. It's not economically feasible to just drop $1,000 on a long weekend or a break from school to go take a plane and see my family. It's something I would have loved to be able to do, but I can't. And reading what this girl's writing about doing just that and being like, it's no big deal, really grinds my gears. It really, really grinds my gears. Not just because I wish I could be able to do that, but mostly because she does not see the privilege she has. And that is very dangerous. That is incredibly dangerous, because the second you don't see your privilege, the second you think your reality, which is completely out of touch, is everyone's reality, you're making very stupid decisions for the rest of the country. If you don't see that others have to work way more than you for half of what you have, you are making incredibly stupid decisions for the rest of the country. So forgive me if I'm being a little bit emotional right now.
It's kind of a chance to see everyone and catch up, and yeah, I'll get to do my nails while I'm there, but of course I do other stuff too. I'd be lying if I said getting my nails done isn't a big motivation.
Oh my god, I am going to take out exactly 3 strands of her hair out of her head. I'm just gonna pluck it right out.
Because the lady who does them has been doing them for years. And honestly, it makes them look gorgeous.
You know what? If she said like, oh, I love doing my nails in this specific local lady, when I go see my family for like the holidays or something, I wouldn't be harping on her like that. But the fact that she is saying getting her nails done is a big motivation to go back to her city, and like she gets to see her family or whatever while she's there, it's pissing me off. It's really pissing me off.
But I'm not flying back just for nails and leaving after a few hours. Also, between these trips, I usually do my own nails and leave them untouched.
I can relate to doing your own nails, but that does not excuse you, girly. That does not excuse you. Also, I don't believe you. I genuinely do not believe a single word you're saying. Because I can see that you engineered your words in the post to make it look like less of a deal than it actually is. So I don't believe any damage control you're trying to do right now.
I definitely didn't mean to make it sound like I exclusively fly home just for that. But I realize now how I came across when I was chatting with my friends.
I don't think the biggest issue is that I don't think the biggest issue is that you worded it to make it sound like you're just going there to get your nails done. I think the biggest issue is that you acted like dropping $1,000 was not a big deal. I don't know what to tell you. January's daughter also commented. OMG, this comment just made me cackle as an American. And someone commented on the original post. I just find it funny to see Florianopolis being called a small city and you saying you are from a small town. They're gonna say exactly what I told you. You wanna say? For the people who are not from Brazil, Florianopolis is literally the capital of Santa Catarina, the state, and as big as cities like LA, Boston, and Detroit. I get that it's not as big as São Paulo, but almost any city from Brazil could be described as being small when compared to São Paulo. Exactly. This isn't some podunk little rural town. It's this whole ass big city girl going to the bigger city. Exactly. This is exactly what it is. I love this so much. But yeah, this is finally the post that made me want to go into AITAH. I finally covered it. I can rest in peace. I think we got time for one more. Yeah, we got time for one more. This is by you/foot in my mouth. AITAH for agreeing with my friend when she was criticizing her boyfriend's habits in front of my husband. This user was marked as the a-hole. Hi, I've had a pit in my stomach since yesterday, and I want to know if I messed up here, and if so, how badly. My husband and I will have been married for 2 years next Sunday, and our son turned a year old a couple of months ago. Our relationship has always been great. I've been proud of how good we've had it, and so our argument yesterday has me bothered. On Friday, a couple of my friends visited just to meet up and have dinner. One of them has recently moved in with her boyfriend, and they're going through a rough patch right now, so she was complaining a bit. She was complaining about being treated like a maid and having to repeat things multiple times and then doing it herself for it to be done and just stuff like that. While saying that, she also on a few occasions generalized a bit, kind of projecting her issues with her boyfriend on men in general. My other friend and I were being supportive because she seemed like she was going through it and just agreed with her and supported her. My husband was there too. He's never been the kind to take these gendered criticisms personally, which is why I really didn't think this would be an issue. On Saturday, he was out with some friends when I asked about when he'll be back for dinner. He didn't respond for a while, then he said he was eating out with his friends. When he came back too, he was cold with me and just taking care of our son. This was all weird, so I ended up asking what the problem was. He first said nothing was wrong. I pressed that he's being cold to me all day. What happened? He told me that if I was so unhappy in my marriage, I should have told him honestly instead of surprising him like that in front of our guests. I genuinely was scrambling in my mind to understand what he was saying. I never said I was unhappy in our marriage. It wouldn't make sense to... I'm happy with where... It's probably a since there. It wouldn't make sense since I'm happy with where we are. He brought up that I agreed with everything my friend was saying about how terrible partners men are. That was me saying he was a bad husband, and I was unhappy. I was stunned at that insane leap of logic. I promised that was
that what I said had nothing to do with him. That he is not my friend's boyfriend. I didn't have those complaints that she had. I never meant it to be an attack on him. He still was stuck that my agreement with her was a criticism of our marriage too, and that I had joined in at parts. I might have messed up here because I said those things were not things he does. I was just being general and said that those were just things I'd seen before him, like with an ex. He felt even more attacked by that and asked how often I was thinking about my exes over these mundane things. I clarified, that's not what I meant. I don't think like that. I just had to search in my memory for some stuff to support my friend, especially because he doesn't. He dropped the argument then, but the cold shoulder is continuing today too. I can't believe this is happening a week before our anniversary. AITA.
I'm gonna be so for real with you. I disagree with Reddit's take on this person being the a-hole. I'm not saying they're correct in this situation. I think, to be fair, I think most AITA situations are everyone sucks here. Because most situations could have been avoided by all parties involved. Look, I think you're both being immature in this. I personally have a habit of when I'm talking to friends and they say, oh, men are like this, or oh, men are like that. Mostly my guy friends say that, by the way. And they're like, oh, men are trash. My guy friends say men are trash. Yes. I'm usually like, I mean, not all of them, but unfortunately, a big enough quantity of men that give the whole gender a bad rap. And they're like, yeah, that's what I meant. And so, like, I understand both sides of this argument. Like, the guy is basically hearing men are trash, and he's like, I'm a man, am I trash? So he could be taking this, I'm nervous about it route. And the lady is like, oh, yeah, no, my friend is saying men are trash, but she means like there's this big group of men that give men a bad rap, basically. So I understand. So she's like, yeah, totally. But she doesn't think all men are trash. She just thinks, yeah, no, I see her point. But I think both sides of the argument kind of went about it the wrong way. Because if you are, it really depends on what was said. Like, did she say like, oh, all men do this? And you were like, oh my god, yes, that's so annoying, I hate men. Something like that. Like, yeah, your boyfriend's gonna get a little uncomfortable about it. But if you were like having a conversation like, oh, I hate when men do this, and you're like, oh my god, yes, it's so annoying when they do that, and your husband doesn't do that, he should be thinking, wait, I don't do that. Do I? Like, he shouldn't be taking it as a indirect criticism towards him. He should be taking like a, damn, that really is annoying when men do that. I think both sides are being a little immature about this. Yeah. And like, I don't know, something about the way she was like, yeah, no, I brought back memories of my exes doing this, to chime in. Something about this, the way he reacted, like, oh, so how often are you thinking about your exes? That sounded incredibly immature to me. I don't know if I'm just not seeing this in the light that it's meant to be seen. I'm just uncomfortable about that. I get an uncomfy feeling about he immediately jumping to her, thinking about her exes. On one hand, yeah, I do personally think she should have stuck up for her. She should have stood up for her husband. But she was comforting her friend. And like, it's not the moment for her to be like rubbing it in her friends' faces that she's like, no, actually, I don't know what it's like because my husband is perfect. That's not the moment, sis. That's the moment you go, yeah, no, I got you, girly. I understand. So on one hand, yeah, she shouldn't have let the conversations seem like she was agreeing in terms of her husband. She should have been a little clearer that, oh, yeah, no, some men in my past have done this. I understand what you mean. But on the other hand, I think her boyfriend is being incredibly... Sorry. I think her husband is being incredibly immature about this. And I think they both should just have a very honest and mature conversation. Because conversation is the answer to everything. Basically. Yeah. Let's see a few comments. First comment. Maybe what did you say or agree to? By One Master Ball and agreeing with IV123 responded, also whatever you said. Even if you were just trying to help your friend, if the positions were reversed and your husband was talking with a bunch of guys about how women suck, or whatever you said, would it have made you feel bad? Zedarabi responds, it kinda depends. If the husband and his friends were trashing women for sexist ideas, women are superficial, stupid, cupid, blah, blah, it would be different than OP complaining with her friend about normalized behavior of men in a patriarchal society. Yeah, that's what I thought, too. It still depends on what OP said, exactly. But reversing roles doesn't always work because the initial dynamic isn't always the same. And Polish Girl 44 also says, as for it depends if OP's husband is a good partner or not, because maybe he just realized he isn't, and she is aware of that. Yeah, I mean, you have a point. He could be like, oh my god, I do all these things. Am I trash? But I don't think that's it. I think he just took personally a complaint that wasn't meant for him. Anyways, another top comment says, from Julie88, says, going with, you're the a-hole. These kinds of posts always have the, I'd totally be fine if the tables were flipped, would not in fact be fine vibe. Be honest, Opie, if your husband had friends over and they were generally bashing women while you were right there, would you be unhappy? My guess is yes. Again, this doesn't really work. Because there are pre-established dynamics based on the genders. In an ideal society, I got a message, sorry. In an ideal society, the flipping the tables would work. But it doesn't work in this society because it's not ideal. So it really depends on the situation. If her friend was saying all men are trash, then yes, it would be a reversible thing. if her friend was saying, I hate it when men do this specific thing, it's not the same as men bashing women. You get what I mean? I don't know. Iron Lion 45 mentions, what about the part where he instantly got jealous and defensive when she mentioned exes? Exactly what I said. Doesn't that strike you as a bit off? Apprehensive Owl 1938 says, I think he was just pissed in general, and that didn't make anything better. Like, what's he supposed to say? Oh, in that case, I take it back. Cool. Not really, but like, he's not. If you say, if she's when she said I was talking about my exes, his first response shouldn't have been, "Oh, so you're always thinking about your exes?" It should have been, "Okay, do I do any of those things that your exes do?" It's weird that he immediately jumped to her always thinking about her exes when that moment called for thinking about prior experience. And Canyon E Moon responded, I mean, yeah, when you get mad about an assumption and when confronting the other person, they explain their point in more depth, you are actually supposed to be able to take on that new information and back down. I mean, yeah. that's pretty much it. Yeah. I think we're gonna end it here, guys. I've been recording for quite a while. I know I'm gonna have to chop off a good bit of this episode because I did a lot of digging around the internet for data that I showed you guys. So that probably added a few minutes in there, but it's already been an hour and 20 minutes recording. So I'm gonna stop it here, I think. Thank you very much for coming along. I'm sorry if I got a bit emotional there in the middle. I'm sorry I cried. But yeah, these things, talking about my family kind of gets me very emotional because I really do miss them. It's the hard part, I think, about living alone in a far off place. It's that when you're feeling down, you don't really have comfort with you. And it's kind of hard. It's been a few years already, but I'm still getting used to it. And sometimes I really do wish that I had my family here with me. But we can't have everything, okay? So, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for seeing this video through with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. If you want to see more from me, I greatly recommend you subscribe. If you have anything to tell me, please do so in the comments below. Just remember to be nice, please. I know you guys are nice. I'm just saying for the people who haven't commented before, remember to be nice. If you liked the video, consider leaving a like. That would be really, really cool of you. And if you want to see more from me, I do upload weekly, every Saturday, and on the 15th of every month. A bunch of stuff. I do Lego games, I do puzzle games, I do story-rich games, and I do Reddit and visual novels. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're having a wonderful week. I hope you continue having a wonderful week. I hope your next week is absolutely amazing, perfect, and all the best. I wish you all the best. Much health, much luck, much happiness, much everything good. And If you know this channel, you know that I love puns. So if you have any puns for me, please leave them in the comments below. I really do love reading your puns. But we have the pun of the day today. Once again, brought by our wonderful, amazing friend of the channel, Zeno SSJ4 Hero. Thank you so very much, Zeno, for always being there in my videos. Thank you so much. With your wonderful puns. Today's pun of the day will be, what are the twins' favorite fruit? Pears. That was very funny. Thank you very much. And yeah, I hope to see you guys again next week with another video. Okay, bye bye guys. Love you. Mwah.